Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your breakfast bankroll for Friday, May 20th, 2022. The weekend is here, and we are full of sports to get to. Southern Hills behind me, first round leader Rory McIlroy holds on. I think he was around plus 2,500 for the first round leader. He was on my desk, thank you. I was just talking to our co-host about it, and still a little salty. One of the guys we had, Mr. Justin Thomas, bogeys 8 and 9, ends up a couple shots back, but comes out guns a-blazing. And we'll see what happens there. 54 holes left there. Going to be an exciting tournament for sure. Some big names had a bad day. Mr. Cantlay, Mr. Spieth, just to name a few. Mr. Tiger Eldridge Woods. Tough course, I would have to say, for him to be walking. He did talk about his leg, so we'll see what happens today. Excited for that. The heat was not on, or should I say Marcus Smart was on. Holy shit. Celtics blast the Heat. I talked about it on our show yesterday. If you liked the Celtics yesterday, you should have grabbed them at the plus 105, plus 110 to win that series. I've seen some spots now, they're minus 280. Now they're coming back to Boston for game 3 and 4. I've seen some opening numbers of Celtics minus 6. We'll get to that. In hockey, the defending cup champs, Lightning score with less than a second to rip the hearts out of the Panthers. Lightning now up 2-1, and the Blues. I talk about them in their second period mastery, and they do it again. They defeat the Avs to go to 1-1 in that series. Full slate of baseball. A lot to talk about. So without further ado, let's bring in our co-host from the Windy City himself, Mr. Riley Magnuson. Morning, Riley.
Morning, Jeff. How are you, my friend? That background you got is looking nice and pristine this morning, but I'm doing fantastic, my friend. You said it. We've got loads of action today and this weekend to talk about, so wherever you want to start, I am ready for, if you want to do any recap on top of, you already mentioned last night's game as far as the Celtics are concerned. I caught the Celtics last night and for the series before yesterday's game, and obviously, similar situation as the Celtics and Bucks series, where you can get now you can get the Heat at plus money, but I don't. I personally am not as interested as I was in that last series. I think the Celtics. You said 6. I just saw 6.5 on FanDuel. So a lot of these books are thinking the Celtics are going to roll here in Game 3. I think that's tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm ready to dive into wherever you want to, my friend.
Yeah, very interesting. If you caught the plus money on the Celtics, now the Celtics are minus 6, 6.5. If you were going to look to get the guaranteed free money, my suggestion would be obviously wait till after game 3. I mean, Vegas has given you a pretty good blueprint that they expect the Celtics not only to win, but to win comfortably, where the Heat will probably go to about plus 400 after game 3 there. I'm going to give you the stage for a second if you want to go there to start, or if there was anything personally that jumped off the board sports-wise that happened yesterday that you'd like to start with.
As far as yesterday, I mean, just to do a little PGA cleanup on my own end, we mentioned, or we were talking, I had Cantlay is one of my big, or is, the only gigantic whiff that doesn't look like it's going to bounce back at all. I told you I was going to save it for the show. I've now for the second time, I'm not a huge miscut guy, taking any players to miss the cut. Did it for the second time of the season this year. First time I took Cam Smith at the players to miss the cut. He goes on to win the damn thing. This time around, it's Abraham Answer, and he is currently 3 under, tied for 6th. And so obviously still got a day to go and a couple days after that. Hopefully not for my case, but I don't know if that's the play to make as far as the guy to win the tournament if this trend is going to continue. But I think next time someone needs to come out of the screen and slap me in the face next time I do that, or take some big action on backing whoever I take. So I'm going to stop doing that. Unless a nice miracle collapse happens in my favor today. But as far as positives, I've got some action on Matt Fitzpatrick, who actually looks like he's got a birdie to start his day, so he's at 3 under already. So I'm holding out hope for him. I got top 10 action on him at 4-1 odds. So if he gets to the window, that'll be a nice winner for me. And then I'm still trying to stalk some outright action. I was writing my blog. I was interested in Rahm. Obviously, he had a rough day yesterday. Needs a bounce back today. Not sure if that'll be there or not. But a lot of guys, if you're looking to get some big odds as far as what's on the board still. You and I were talking about Spieth before the show, and obviously if you listen to your shows earlier, people know the story on what you were saying about Spieth. He's 65-1, but now after you said what you said, I'm a little cold turned off on him going forward. And then Hideki's the other one that I know is a fan favorite or a bettor's favorite coming into the tournament. He's at 80-1. Needs a nice bounce back. Needs a day to make the cut, first of all, and then obviously a bounce back day, whether it's today or tomorrow, to get himself into contention. So as far as that's all I'm seeing so far on the PGA. Obviously, a few surprises. Shane Lowry was the one that I'm mad at myself that I left on the desk the most. He's at 2 under for the day already, top 10 now. He's a guy, I think his odds actually, I was interested. Maybe he would have some value. He's 12-1 on FanDuel to win outright right now. So obviously I'm not looking at that right now. But if those odds change, if he's kind of lurking around, he could be a guy that makes some moves. That was the one that I'm mad at myself the most for, as far as one that I left on the desk. And then Schauffele was one that I was interested in. He's still kind of lurking around a little bit. Another guy that I'm not a ton of value right now, but maybe as things move along, maybe he's got some value if he sticks around. And then aside from that, I mean, some of these surprise. I guess I'll kick it back to you. Any guy that was kind of a surprise that you could see sticking around for the weekend? You've got guys like Hogue, Kuchar up at the top here. Anybody that you're interested in, or maybe surprised to see? Maybe they'll fall off. Maybe you think they're sticking around for the weekend.
Well, it's funny. I get the leaderboard, and you see I'm smiling ear to ear. We do have Neiman. We do have Thomas, who both have come out. They're both at -4. Yeah. And the other one that you just talked about, Lowry, we do have Lowry, who comes out -2. So we got 3 in the top 9 there. Again, today, I talk about a tournament. I break it down, obviously, into 3. Okay. The first and most importantly, you got to make the cut. Okay. Yeah. So you got to position yourself. You got to make the cut. Saturday, moving day. You got to position yourself for Sunday sweat day. So the key to success in these is obviously making the cut. There was like 142 golfers. I think we took 7 or 8 full swings for some outrights, quarter halves, whatever. Again, I know some guys in our lanes that put in 15, 20 units in these tournaments. We're not one of those guys. We'll take a board. Let's say we had 7 or 8 outrights. We make them all even where, for instance, Justin Thomas was at 19-1. So if you had a half a unit, let's just say 3/4 of a unit on him, he's worth $750. Right. Okay. And then you base everything off of that. A Lowry was at like 35-1. So you got a half a, not even a quarter unit. Everything would equal 750. And so what? Same with Neiman. But I was not in, the guy kills me. I take him and he won't make the cut. I'm not in on Will Z. Hogue, but what's his name? Dubsy was talking about Hoagie. Hoagie's been playing some great golf. I just didn't get there on Hoagie. Yourself and a few other my colleagues is on the Fitzpatrick train. I was on Answer earlier in the year. He's just been playing so bad. Dubsy brought it up. I know there. Good buddy of mine in the DraftKings Millie Maker used Kuchar on every ticket, so we'll see how he holds up. But looking further down the road, I mean, Cam Smith -2 is obviously dangerous. Xander -2 is obviously dangerous. I do have Patty Reed. I got him top 20, top 40, and an outright. He starts -1, but as you know, anything can happen here.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess the last one I'll mention is the guy that I've been all over for the entire year, Scotty Scheffler. He's at 1 over for the day, or not for the day, total right now. Even for the day, he's through 7. So I don't know. I think it's time for some not to maybe it's a hindsight obviously, but I think regression is probably coming for him. I think he could probably still have a nice tournament, but I'm probably not taking any outright action on him, at least at this stage, to come out of the pack. He's obviously still got some work to do to make the cut, but obviously he's been a fan favorite for the last few weeks. So, and I know a lot of people had him, so not dead by any means, but I think this is probably the time where his train starts to cool down a little bit.
One of my two models had his actual odds to win the tournament at like some outrageous number, like at 70, 80 to 1.
Oh,
And
really?
his actual market odds, was one of the favorites. And
Right.
he, a sad story in last year's one and done. I had Scotty Scheffler. After round 1, he was -9 leading the tournament. After round 2, he missed the cut. And that still scorns me right now. How can you
Right.
lead a tournament after one day and miss the cut?
And then miss the cut the next day. And then, I mean, the other one, they're both sitting at 3 over. I actually took in a couple tournaments this year just because John Rahm was so overvalued and hadn't been playing that great. I had been taking a couple tournaments, top Spaniard Sergio Garcia, because it would be like plus 3 or 4 to 1 odds, and it's just 3 guys basically, and Rahm wasn't playing well enough, and so I left it on the desk today because I thought Rahm was obviously going to have a fantastic tournament, but they're neck and neck. So if anyone took any action on Sergio, it was almost, I am blanking on who the third guy was, but it's essentially a matchup between Sergio and Rahm, unless this other, I'm blanking on who it is, comes out of the pack. But I'm wondering if anybody took that action again, like I had a couple times. But nothing crazy going on with those two guys just yet.
For me, was the top Asian. Dubsy was talking about, got some good value on Matsuyama with plus money. I mean, I think he was competing against Lee, maybe Siwoo, or I don't even know if Siwoo's here, but a couple others. And Matsu struggles out of the gate, and he was definitely in form. And if you talk to a lot of the colleagues, he was one of those guys to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I think he still is, honestly. I didn't see him personally too much to see if he was having any serious issues. But yeah, I mean, he's 2 over. He's got I think he's starting here in a few hours. So he's got a few hours to see, how everything shakes out. But he's still in a spot where I think he make a run. Siwoo Kim, I think actually he is definitely in the tournament. I think he had a nice day. I didn't have any action on him. I had him in like a random, like 6-man pool or something, or a 6-player pool or something like that, and I think he was either even or 1 under. So I didn't expect him to have a huge tournament. So I think as far as Matsuyama for that play individually, and then just in general, I think he's still got a chance to, or I know he's still got a chance to bounce back here today and tomorrow for sure.
We talked about the Celts. They look like they're sitting in the catbird seat. I saw a few check mark, big platform loudmouths, I'm going to say, on game 1 with their chests out like this, as the Heat were beating a Celtics team coming off a 7-game series against the Bucks. No Horford, no Smart, and I saw them run into their rabbit holes, as some people like to say, as Smart looked like Larry Bird yesterday, and which was hilarious because that means game 3 he's going to launch even more, which is a dangerous sight. I'm a firm believer, live by the 3, die by the 3. The Celtics could not miss. I hope they don't settle, take the ball to the damn rim, make an early statement. Butler is Butler, and hey, listen, the Heat had a tough night. Let's just say they came out guns a-blazing. The Celtics took the first punch, and then they just rolled from there. Game 2 now, Dallas Golden State. 9:00 tonight, opened at 6.5, a flat 6 now all across the Vegas Strip, and under over that opened at 214, 214.5 at our friends at Circa. Good morning, Jeffrey, Derek, and Matt. 214 across the rest of the Vegas Strip. Initial thoughts, seeing that we got 9-10 hours before tip-off.
Yeah, initial thoughts, I've got a tiny lean towards the +6 on this one. I think this is going to be at least a much, much better game than we saw in game one, where it was a blowout. I mean, if you look at the Mavs, they had two 20-point losses to the Suns in that series, and they bounced it back with not only covers, but they won those games outright. Both of those, bounce backs were in Dallas, and obviously that's not where we're at tonight. So I do expect a much stronger effort for them. Otherwise, it's going to be a pretty quick series, if you ask me. I don't know that they bounce back for the win, but I do think it's going to. I think that +6 is going to be. I think it's going to come down to the wire as far as the spread is concerned. I think it could go either way. I'm not over the moon about it, but I'm at least leaning towards that 6. Luka wasn't fantastic in game one. Much like the Celtics, I could see them bouncing back as far as getting through a long 7-game series. Obviously, they rolled over the Suns in the 7th game, but it was obviously a long and tough series for them, and that's, you kind of saw that in the first game. I think Luka's going to be a lot better tonight. And then I think as far as whether they're winning or really keeping this close, as we've talked over the last couple of weeks, it really comes down to their supporting cast unless Luka goes out of control, which he absolutely could. But overall, it's been, kind of that supporting cast that really pushes them over the edge to being, really competitive. And, I could see some shooting regression for the Warriors here in game 2. So I'm kind of leaning towards the Mavs, at least at this point in this one.
Big slate. Obviously, it's Friday. It's baseball. Let me take a quick check here. Whoa. Welcome to the East Side as the South Side heads to the Bronx.
Yes.
We got Keuchel, who my thoughts about Keuchel, who actually pitched pretty well last game against Mr. Cortez, who has been absolutely lights out. He has just been phenomenal for the Yanks. Let's start there. Initial thoughts, White Sox Yanks today.
I mean, what was it, Monday I came on and you asked my optimism level, and I said decently optimistic as long as we don't play the freaking Yankees, man. And the White Sox put up 7 runs yesterday, but it really wasn't that impressive. As weird as this might sound, I watched the entire game. It wasn't that impressive. They should have scored 12-plus runs in this one. I think it was Hernandez on the mound for the Royals, and probably going to be a decent pitcher down the line, but he's really like a work in progress on the mound right now. I mean, they had a couple moments where it was like teaching moments almost, and the White Sox just didn't take advantage of it because they just are miserable against right-handed pitchers right now. And so it's really Luis Robert and Tim Anderson that are pacing this offense right now. It's the Tim Anderson and Luis Robert show. And I don't know if that's going to be enough for tonight. Keuchel was solid against the Yankees this past weekend, which is what terrifies me because I really expect the Yankees to beat the hell out of him, man. And on the flip side, if I'm playing optimistic for the White Sox, they're obviously a lot better against lefties, but Cortez just dominated them 8 innings over this past weekend. So I really don't know what to expect. I hope we get some bounce back against the lefty. Typically, that's how over the last 2-3 years since we've had this team, we've been very good against lefties. And anytime a lefty kind of handles us, the next time out we see him, it's a lot more success. I'm really scared that the Yankees put up 7+ runs on Dallas Keuchel, though, is my biggest concern. So I'm staying out of it for now. But this is the one game this season where I've actually had the least amount of confidence in this team going up against their opponent. So that's where I'm at for the day. We took 3 out of 5 out of the Royals. Would have liked a little bit more out of that this week here in Kansas City because this offense just against righties, something needs to change. And it hasn't, aside from Luis Robert and Tim Anderson, as I keep saying. Aside from those two guys, nothing is really changing down the line there for the Sox. So we'll see. If we get 1 out of 3, that honestly might be enough for me to feel happy going against this red hot team. Obviously, they just lost to the Orioles, the Yankees, but we'll see. I'm not feeling great about tonight for the Sox.
Day baseball. On the other side of the town for you, we have Arizona at the Cubs, Castellanos versus Hendricks. We have the Cubs opening up -140, currently 132 at Circa, 133 at Westgate, 136 at South Point. Hendricks is one of these guys in my head that you go with him and he's out in the 3rd inning. You go against him and he's pitching a 3-hit shutout into the 7th and 8th inning. Thoughts there?
Yeah, for Hendricks, for me, there's certain spots where I really like him. The story for today that I'm seeing so far, the total since I've seen it has climbed to 11.5 up from 11. The wind, it is very, very, very windy here in Chicago today. And from what I've seen, it's blowing out at Wrigley Field. Both these guys, from what I was seeing, both these guys are fly ball pitchers. So these lineups haven't been very good lately, but if they're getting the ball in the air, this thing might be flying out today. Hendricks, 84 fly balls to 53 ground balls on the season. Castellanos, 56 fly balls to 38 ground balls on the season. So the ball, if the guys are getting it in the air, this thing might be flying out, and that's why you see the over-under at 11, 11 and a half. I don't know if I think it's going to be that much of a late show because these offenses really aren't playing that well. I do kind of give it the edge to the Cubs at home. They've got 5 runs per 9 innings. They're scoring 5 runs a game at home versus righties. So they've been a little bit better versus righties at home. So I would give them the edge a little bit here in this one. But as you saw with the numbers that I gave, Hendricks is a little bit more of a fly ball pitcher than Castellanos is. So the Cubs might have a nice offensive day. The Diamondbacks might have an offensive day here, but it looks like so far the wind is the big story for me that I'm seeing in this one.
I'm showing here at Sports Insights, first pitch, 20.2 miles an hour, blowing out dead center, 20.4 at 3 o'clock, 19.8, all dead center. And the last couple innings of the games down to 18.5, 81 to 82 degrees. No chance of rain, 3% on the opening pitch. So we could see fireworks early and often on a Friday Fade the Public payday. Why decide who to pick? Take the damn over and root for runs, baby.
Yeah, and I normally wouldn't condone this, but this would be a day where if you feel strongly about someone hitting some home runs, the last few weeks I've been seeing all season long, everyone has like 375 as the lowest odds. A lot of these guys are down down to the close to 2-1 odds. Wilson Contreras was 225 on FanDuel. So I typically don't condone that. I still don't love that value down for a home run under 3-1. But if you're looking to have some fun, man, this one might be the one for the day to where the ball's going to be flying out of the park. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting here today.
I brought the full board up for you. We got, like I said, full slate of bases. I'm going to turn the board over to you if you have some slight leans, some plays that you've already selected or going to select, some props. Just take it away.
Yeah, I've got a couple that I was really interested in before that. The one that I'm interested in monitoring the most here as far as a Fade the Public Friday is St. Louis and Pittsburgh. So far, I'm seeing just truckloads of money coming in on the Cardinals so far, 90-ish% on a couple different spots. Starting to go down a little bit as far as that splits. That is the one that I wanted to monitor the most if we're talking Fade the Public Friday. That one, 5:35 Central Time, so 6:35 your time, start time. That one's in Pittsburgh. Wainwright and Thompson. Wainwright's been really good the last couple, so it might be time for some regression for him. And Thompson hasn't been fantastic. 5.47 ERA. He's one of the guys that people like to back the most out of this Pirates starting lineup, to my knowledge. And that might be a good spot to play the Pirates. But obviously, I'm going to monitor that one. That one's the Apple TV Plus game of the day. The other one that I'm really interested in, I haven't made any plays quite yet, but I've got a couple that I'm interested in. Next one up, Atlanta and Miami. You've got Morton versus Trevor Rogers. Morton, it's honestly time for some regression for Morton. He's been really good the last two himself. And, you and I believe you, correct me if I'm wrong, but I, along with you, am a big Trevor Rogers fan and supporter in this one. And so I'm leaning towards Miami in this one. Pretty close bets and money split that I saw. Plus 100, even odds for the Marlins in this one. First 5 might be a better play if you're interested in the Marlins, but sometimes their offense can be a little stagnant. They've been playing well, so I think you can have some faith in them today. But that was one. Any thoughts on that one just quickly as far as Atlanta and Miami?
Miami, I don't want to say they're our kryptonite. I can't say that, but every time we've gone to the well with them, just offensively challenged.
Yeah.
We had Craig Mish on a couple of weeks ago. We're going to try to get him on next week to get a temperature of the team there. Not high on Morton this year. He has shown some chinks in the armor. Yeah. I guess initially I'd have to respect the opening number. The Braves have started to put things together slowly. I talked at length with Scott on the closing bell last night, and I would like to get your thoughts on this.
Yeah.
Um, Max out 6 to 8 weeks now for the Mets. So you got no DeGrom, you got no Max 6 to 8 weeks. McGill is already out. So their ace in the hole currently is like Bassett, Peterson,
Right.
Carrasco, and a cloud of dust. So I asked Scotty, was it time to jump on the Braves and take some pizza and beer money on FanDuel? You could get the Braves plus 280 to win the East. Now they're 7.5 back. They didn't do anything till June last year. They had no outfield. The GM made some amazing trades, and next thing you know, the Braves come out of nowhere. So
Right.
let me just throw the ball back to you. Does that entice you at all, or you think August, September, the Mets will be back?
That's interesting. I'm trying to see if there's any. I might be interested in a little. I mean, if you can get plus money on the Braves to make the playoffs, maybe. I don't know. I think the Mets can do enough to tread water, maybe. But I think it's fair to assume you could get some negative regression on their offense, the Mets here. And I think the Braves pitching staff is going to see some really nice improvement. So honestly, I don't think it's a bad play at all. Honestly, if you can obviously get some comparable and nice odds of the playoffs, which I'm sure it's not, not as enticing as 280 if that's what you said. But yeah, I think so, man. I mean, they're just a few games under 500. Kind of reminded me of my White Sox in some capacity a little bit as kind of a sleeping giant here. And obviously you get Acuna back starting to roll or hoping to start to roll here in a second. So I think so. I think it's worth the play for sure.
Any props, anything else on this board here today that jumps out at you?
Let's see. I have one more. Let me double check here. The other one that I had, I told you, not over the moon with it. Actually, speaking of the damn Mets at the Rockies. I have been. I always look for whatever value you can find on the Rockies when they're at home. Obviously, a solid home team. And I told you, I think it was Monday or last week. In certain spots, I like German Marquez at home, and I think I'm going to be playing the Rockies here at home on the money line today, plus money, unless something changes. I haven't locked it in yet. And he's honestly still got some positive regression coming his way. I mean, he was a little bit better last time out at home, but he's still got some really nice starts in his future, in my opinion. And I'm not a huge fan of Carrasco. So I actually like the Rockies here, plus money, as we're seeing it so far today. Maybe something will change, but I've been a bit fan of Marquez at home this year or the last couple of seasons here.
I just got to switch gears for 1 second because I was just looking down the leaderboard, and the one name who was my dark horse, and one of my models absolutely loved him, his odds versus the market odds, and Mito Pereira.
Yeah.
Who, he's -2 there now. So had a good day yesterday, and I was just scrolling down the board, and saw Neiman that was right there, one behind. So I just wanted to throw that name out to you. You got to throw those names out when they're doing well before they burn.
No, that's one piece of advice that I was getting. You'll have to have him on. I have had good relations with him. Cam Rogers is a really solid golf analyst, and one of his tips that I liked is limit your pool of players. So you're not, because there's over 100 guys on a tournament, let alone 200-300 guys that you can pick from on any given week. And I mentioned that because Pereira hasn't really been on my radar, but I've been slowly looking at him lately and trying to get him onto my radar is kind of why I mentioned that. And so, I think that's one to keep an eye out for sure. But yeah, that was one piece of advice I always really, really enjoyed with golf is just don't go crazy and have, 200 guys to select from unless you've got a nice model, obviously. But that's one guy that I was interested in kind of adding to my repertoire of guys that I monitor on a week-to-week basis here.
For me in the eye test today, obviously that over looks intriguing now, but again, we're late to the party on that one. You'll probably turn it on and you're going to see one or two things. You're going to see 6-5 after 3, or you're going to see, 5-4 final or something like that on the Arizona Cubs game. And what I like to it really, really explain to a lot of people is this. Again, it is Friday. It is payday. It is Fade the Public Friday. But a lot of people need that little juice, that little action as the week is winding down. And what better way to start the weekend? Having a little afternoon action. So I think the initial run to the window play will be for that over. But again, it's a game where I do see a little value in Arizona, um, plus the 121,
Hmm.
125. It's a game that I will not be jumping into. Again, it's one of those where, listen, guys, instead of running to that window, finish your week at work strong. Treat yourself to some apps and beverages at 5:05, and then take a better look at the market. Then
Yeah.
Wainwright Thompson, you talked about that. Um, St. Louis bats have been waking up. It's a tough nut to swing at. When you're talking 145s, that's a lot of tax to pay. If you were on the Cardinals camp, I would suggest first five minus the hook. Uh, Thompson has been pitching okay. A lot of respect there for the Cards. Vegas has given you a lot of respect, at least with that opening
Yeah.
number. You talked about Morton and Rogers. Initial thought in my head would be lean Rogers. I think you got some good value there. But again, the Jedi mind tricks, I also have to go on the other side and say, well, the Braves are favored for a reason here. So I think a game that I'll be watching from the outside in. Dodgers and Phillies. Phillies put a nice little butt whooping last weekend on the Dodgers. I don't think the Dodgers have forgotten that. And both pitchers pitched last weekend. I might
Yep.
be eyeing a little Dodgers first five minus the hook there and a little revenge spot there.
Yeah, I was interested in bringing that one up. I was interested in, the one thing I was interested in the Dodgers. One thing I just didn't know. I expect some regression from Suarez because he was solid, from Suarez, and expecting some positive regression from Urias. I was more interested in maybe the Dodgers over 4.5. I know that's not so much the lane we go to. Would you feel more confident in them, just their offense in general, or Urias in general, or what side on the Dodgers do you have the more confidence in backing them as far as first five, or maybe just offensively?
I think I like the thought process. I do. I got a weather alert there. Let's see what the weather says there. If it's rain or wind, um, it's not rain. 10-mile-an-hour winds to start. Nothing really major there. Um, I look more for the Dodgers in bounce back spots.
Yeah.
They were within 3 outs of getting swept, and they rallied. And I like the positive regression you talked about, Urias. I think definitely the Dodgers is the side. I think the second time around now, the Dodgers will be. I like Suarez too. I just
Yeah.
think that they'll be ready there. The top of the order of Betts and Turner have been getting hot of late. So I have no problem any which way you want to get into that game today,
Okay.
personally,
Okay.
on that side. Washington and Milwaukee, Fetty and Laura. Laura has been great. Fetty's one of these guys again, and you'll have a bunch of these guys. When you bet on him, he doesn't get out of the
Yes.
second. When you bet against him, he's sitting with the ball in his hand in the sixth. So
That was for me last year. I learned that with him pretty quickly, and I have not touched him probably since June of last year. I just, anytime I see his name, all right, I'm moving on from that game. Guess we're not touching that game today.
I think there'll be a lot of play on Braves first five minus the
Yeah.
hook. Get in early on that one. Carrasco at Marquez. I'll be interested with the mentality of the Mets, knowing now that Max is also out for 6 to 8. It's a good spot for them. Carrasco pitched great his last time out. Marquez, I have had some bad luck with Marquez in the past, especially at home. Mets opened up at 130, 123 right now. I'm expecting a big following on the Mets today, an under over of 10 as well.
Was that still on the? You cut out for a second. Was that still on the Rockies and Mets game? The total on that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, these totals for the Rockies games have been interesting. I've been staying away from the totals for the most part because you never know when maybe one team goes for 8 runs and it's an 8-1 game, and then the next day you've got the 10-11 type game. So I stay away from the Rockies totals for the most part unless I feel really confident one way or another.
I want everyone listening, just make a mental note of this, maybe write a note down. When you see Rocky totals of 12 or over, they have been cashing.
Yeah.
And so, that 10, 10 and a half, 11 number gets into those, 5, 4, 6, 5 games. But the 12 or betters have been coming in. Now, again,
Yeah.
I think the Cubs game is an outlier today because everyone's going to run to the window because of the wind. I mean, this is Coors Stadium, Coors Park, whatever you want
Yeah.
to call it. The ball flies, as we know there. But if you see a 12, go run to the window, sprinkle a little beer and pizza on the
Yeah.
over there. Padres at San Fran, great matchup. Mania versus Junis. Junis looked pretty good his last time out. My mind serves me correct. Mania struggled his last time out. We have an opening number of San Fran was only minus 108, the corrected number of minus 120. Padres playing some good ball right now. Giants back at home.
Yeah, Mania, you're correct. Mania actually for the last few starts, at least 3 runs allowed in 4 straight. The Padres have lost each of his last 4 straight starts, so I think he could be due for some positive regression. He's got decent numbers against the Giants, and then I think that might be that's an interesting spot. That's going to be that should be a good one right there.
The stench of the night, Tampa at Baltimore. Baltimore walk-off last night to steal one game against the Yankees, 9-6. Beeks, if memory serves me correct, first time he's pitching this year. When I think of Beeks, I think of trading places. And and Mr. Wells, who hasn't done that well. But the surprising thing is the overnight number was 145. The morning corrected number, 131 at Circa, 129 at the Nugget. Seems low. Seems like they're trying to attract some Tampa money here.
Yeah, I totally agree. That one definitely stinks. This is actually his first start. He's been out of the bullpen for 9 appearances, Beeks, this year, and hasn't gone past 2 innings. So I don't know if that's what the plan is. One of these classic Tampa Bay Raves, have 6 different guys pitch, throughout the course of the day, or if Beeks is actually going to go longer now that he is starting. But I mean, the Orioles, like I've said, a lot of people love the Orioles against lefties. So I guess it kind of depends. If Beeks is going from a handful of innings, then I think that's a nice spot to start. But yeah, this one definitely has some stink to it. And I mean, the Orioles 15-24, not a good team, but at least more signs of life than we saw from them last year, right?
Correct. We talked about the White Sox and Yankees there already. Detroit and Cleveland, big edge. In starting pitching was Skubal versus Savali, who has not been good. Overnight number had Detroit minus 110. That's what we're looking. Actually, some back and forth. It's basically a straight pick'em game right now.
Yeah.
I think the public will be flocking to Detroit. There is actual value with Cleveland today as a pick'em. It's tough though. Skubal's been pitching pretty damn well.
Yeah, I was torn on this one. I always try to look, I always feel like I have a little more of an edge personally with the knowledge of the AL Central. But Savali's historically he's a good pitcher, so I'm not sure if something's wrong with him or if we should be expecting positive regression for him. I mean, the thing that really kept me away, because I also really like Skubal just in general, so I think he probably has a nice day. I think the line is fair. I think it's going to be a toss-up. This Tigers offense has just been horrible against right-handed pitchers. So either that prevails and positive regression prevails for Savali, or he's going to continue to be terrible and the Tigers roll with this one. But I've been staying away from this one so far. I personally think it's going to be a 4-3, 3-2 type game in this one.
Next one, Seattle and Boston. Kind of got kicked in the what we've done the last 3-4 days at ECSI is I've decided to go half units on first 5 and full game, and we were on a nice 5-1 run going into last night. Saw some great reverse line movement on the Mariners last night, and in perspective took a 4-0 lead. So I'm like, all right, let's just get the first 5 home, and then we're playing with house money.
Right.
Trevor Story hits a 2-run homer to make it 4-2 in the second. Trevor Story hits a 2-run homer in the fourth to make it 4-4. I get the push in the first 5, and Trevor says, "Hey, Mr. Dawson, Mr. ECSI, I'm not done yet," and hits his 3rd homer, 7 RBIs. Sox win there, so we lose a half unit on the Mariners full game there. Thanks, Trevor, for waking up last night. Ray versus Walker. Before the season started, I had talked at length. Scotty Webb had talked at length. I kind of know your thoughts too. We were on the Fade the Ray train here. We thought over above his skis in command last year. New home with Seattle, thought he'd be overpriced. In comes Walker coming back. who has been phenomenal. I got egg on my face there. I didn't expect what he is pitching. Sox opened up minus 110, still minus 110, 120 at FanDuel. Seems a little light. I'm staying away. And of course, I'm going to stay away. And Ray will be Cy Young Ray, and Seattle will cross the wire today.
Right. And this is Waka's first game back off the IL, right? Yeah, and that's kind of the thing that's keeping me away. I think the most is I typically don't like taking or fading guys that are just coming off the IL, unless I love the other side that much. So, yeah, I guess I'm kind of with you. I think maybe Trevor Story. This is another Trevor Story night as well, and he kind of just puts the team on his back for a few days after his rough month and a half that he's had. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm staying away from this one for sure.
Minnesota KC, Smeltzer versus Lynch. I watched Smeltzer at length. His last start. I didn't. His windup is just comical. I wasn't impressed. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Opens up to 127 now, 126. A game that I'm not going to probably get involved in. I have a weather alert. Let's see what they're saying here in Kansas City. Wind blowing in, no chance really of rain, maybe 11% and 15% as the game progresses. So wind blowing in there. What do you got? An under over, opened at 8.5, juiced to 8.5 under. Real no thoughts here at all.
Not too much for me either. I guess I lean towards maybe a little, under 8.5. I guess I lean towards that, but I've not been good enough with totals, even with any type of wind blowing in type stuff. So that's, I guess, where I would lean, but I'm staying away.
Good morning, Marty Lowe. How are you? Yeah, no, I agree. There. I say this, and I'm being honest with everyone here. I don't have Biff's Almanac. If I did, or if I had tomorrow's newspaper, I still couldn't pick a total. That's why I stay away. They're no friends to me.
No, me too. For the most part, me too. Even when I have the most faith in the world that this thing's going to hit, something wild happens. And, I've had a couple White Sox games because that's the one where I feel the most confident sometimes is White Sox games. And then they'll have Gavin Sheets playing left field, ball bounces off his glove, and you get two ghost runs in the first that shouldn't have ever happened, and that type of stuff happens to me whenever I take unders all day long. So yeah, I'm out.
I tell the story. I could have Alabama at home versus Citadel, the under over of 40, and the final score is 20-19. It's just the way it is.
I'm better at football totals. I am in most spots, but baseball is not my total game for sure.
Last couple games, Texas, Houston, slight lean would be on Houston first 5 minus the hook. That's Perez versus Javier. Blackburn and Silseth. Silseth, I think this is his second start. Blackburn's been pitching real well for Oakland, yet the overnight number was 159. The morning number is 180 on the Angels.
Yeah, that one's interesting. I think that has to be just calling for some Blackburn regression, right? I mean, otherwise, you'd have to be interested in the A's. His last time out was this past Saturday, 6 2/3, 5 hits, 1 earned, 2 walks, 3 Ks, a nice win over the Angels last time out. So I think you have to imagine the Angels beat him up a little bit. But you said this is Silseth is maybe his second start, I think, if that's what's going on here. So, and I guess he also pitched against the A's. So yeah, I've got not a ton of strong opinions on this one. Over under 7.5. That. Again, not to keep going down totals, even though we just said that we're not very good at totals. You would think that these offenses should be able to hit these guys better second time around after seeing them for the second straight week. But what do I know about these totals? I don't know, man.
I'm going to call Stench of the Night Part 2 here for a couple reasons. Cincinnati, one of the worst teams supposedly in baseball, to Toronto against Ryu, who has struggled as well. Opening number at 183, down to 159. This is now Castillo's third start. Yeah. He hasn't been the Castillo that we know, but usually takes a couple starts to get back. I like the opportunity here. Someone's thinking the same thing I am. I'm not telling you to run to the window and go hammer the Reds and Castillo at all, but I am looking for positive regression in Castillo with his third start. Don't know what to expect from Toronto. I would not be running into the window and playing the Jays today.
Neither am I, because I mean, you're also not sure. Maybe Ryu's got some regression or positive regression. He already had it was only 4 2/3, but he was better in his last start out. So I think you're kind of playing with fire in this one. You don't know. One of these guys is either way you play this. One of these guys is going to be great. One of these guys is going to be bad, in my opinion. I personally don't know who it's going to be quite yet, honestly, if you ask me.
The two hockey games, Rangers down 1-0 against Carolina. Opened up 173, now 169. We saw the bounce back yesterday with, oh my goodness, with the Blues
St. Louis,
against
yeah.
the Avs. And then everyone expected the bounce back with the Panthers, and they're just snake bitten, and now they go down 2-0. Edmonton Calgary was the game of all games, 9-6 final, 2 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion for the final over there. If you had under 14, hint, hint, LOL. I feel sorry for you. Don't go run into the window and just hammer in the 6.5. Think about this again, guys.
Yeah.
It scored 15 goals, yet the under over is 6.5 juice under. So be careful there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know me, I'm not the hockey guy. As far as any winners in this, it's fair to assume that at least one of these two teams that are dogs are bouncing back tonight. Any thoughts that these guys can bounce back, or do you think the favorites roll again tonight?
Well, I think the mindset is, and I always screw up this guy's name. Shesterkin was the Shesterkin of old, and it was just a gritty 2-1 win for the Hurricanes. I think the Hurricanes are the better team. I think that they win this series quite easily, but not saying that they're not going to be close games. I think the public thought process is what they saw. Hey, Edmonton was Swiss cheese, but they can score on Calgary. So I think if the public perception is they'd run to the window and take a swing with Connor McDavid, with all those guys and those weapons, catching a plus 157 versus the Rangers, where the Hurricanes haven't lost at home yet, and they get out in front and it's lights out.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I haven't had again, I'm not the hockey guy. I had a better sense of a couple of the series in the previous, in the first round so far. So I've been staying away from hockey so far. I guess, maybe under 6.5 in that second game. The late game is maybe where I would go if I'm going anywhere. But nothing, not too many strong thoughts for me so far on the NHL this round.
Riley, we're not going to see you till Monday. So closing thoughts for today, maybe where your mind is for the weekend. Obviously, it will be on where I am right now at Southern Hills and watching that golf. But for all the listeners here, closing thoughts for the weekend.
Yeah, as far as I'm going to be, I think, like I said, I'm going to be still stalking, trying to get some action on, someone else on the PGA as far as, or at least hope to find some value, not force it, obviously. But I think that's probably going to come from me after today's round, honestly. And we've got, the moving day coming up ahead of us, and maybe a couple guys that, I previously left on the desk were, are still kind of lurking, but still got some valuable odds like Matsuyama, or maybe I haven't checked, obviously, the last hour since we've been on, but maybe Lowry if he's not, anything under 20-1 odds or something like that. But for the most part, man, I'm excited for this final weekend of tournament action here in the PGA. Nice little UFC card. I'm not an expert by any means, but I at least like to have a little action if I feel strongly about anything there. But I'm excited for these last couple days of golf, and 3 days of golf, obviously, hoping just as a fan, didn't take any action like everybody in the world, but Tiger Woods, obviously, hope we can get him playing well today, so we can get a 4-day weekend of Tiger Woods action. But I told I had my girlfriend put $1 on him just in case. But it doesn't seem like it, but I know a lot of these books are going to be hurting if he pulls off some type of miracle. But obviously, he's playing from a hole so far today. It's not happening though.
I saw last night Jeffrey Benson and Mr. Metcalf over at Circa trying everything that they could to drum up some Tiger Woods action and some banter. They had the plus money was pretty big to make the cut. the minus money was huge. They had prior to that, they moved him up to almost plus 11,000 to win the tournament. Pre-flop. The funny one that they put out, I think they had Tiger Woods minus 500 over John Daly today. And if you saw John Daly's, not his scorecard, but what he did, I think he smoked 19 cigarettes. He had a 12-pack of Diet
Yep.
Coke, and he had 6 packs of M&Ms. I mean,
And zero water.
And
zero water. And then I sent a picture to my because I have a group chat. My brothers and my dad are golf fans as well, and my brother sent us that picture. And then I sent back today. There's a picture of him at the slot machine at whatever casino nearby. It was just John Daly after a 2-over round, and he's locked into his slot machine last night. So I think he's in the afternoon along with Tiger. But as I'm seeing, you and I talked. The cut line projected was so far at 2 over. Now it's moved to 3 over, about 80 guys making that. So obviously that honestly, it might be a big determining factor. That could be could be a big swing. I don't know if it'll be locked in by any means, but a couple guys right behind that line. Koepka 1 under so far for the day, so he's going to be trying to get back into contention. But going to be interesting. We'll see if any long shots come out of the pack here.
I was blessed. I'll close with this. I was blessed. About 15 minutes down the road from us is Willow Bend Country Club, and Greg Norman used to have a pro-am every year. They're sponsored by Reebok. Big stars would come in there. Roger Clemens, Emmett Smith, some of the big names back in the day wearing Reebok. They play 18 holes, and there'd be a big shadoo afterward. Norman was there. John Daly was there. I caddied back-to-back years for Tim Wakefield. I was a part of meeting John Daly. I was a part of him taking a Poland Spring bottle, putting a ball on top of it, and hitting it over a cranberry bog. And then one of the years after the tournament, Jay Miller, who played with the Bruins, owns a restaurant called The Courtyard. And we all went down there, and we were in the back with Jay and John Daly and a couple of the other golfers partying it up like rock stars. I think I limped out at around 11 o'clock, and those guys were there till like 4 or 5 a.m. I was just like, guys, meanwhile, we started around, 2:30, and these guys are going around the clock, and whole nother world.
Animals. Yeah, another different breed of human beings, I would say so.
So everyone, remember this. If you are wagering and investing today, please do it responsibly. If you do have a problem, ask for help. Why? Myself and Riley care. We want to see you here today, tomorrow, next week, next month, through 2022 and beyond. It's a great weekend here, guys, as we're wrapping up the month of May. Have some fun here. You got golf for 3 more days. You got NBA, NHL playoffs. You got baseball around the clock. You got the Preakness on Saturday, and it's almost June, guys. So we want to see you here through June, July. Don't tell us that you're taking a break to get ready for football. No, we'll help you take the break here. Trust me. Okay, we'll help you take that break. So listen, guys, thank you so much from myself and Riley. Myself at EC Sports Invest, from Riley at Riley_Magnuson, the one. We wish everyone a great day, and we will see you soon.